Mickey sent me this video. Here we are. It says that it's Mrs. Chard. She is a traveller, and this video was done in the 1960s. So a little bit later on we're going to hear that video, and it talks a little bit. All she's interested about is her marrows, it's vegetables. I suppose when you're on the road and all that, one of the most important things you've got is your food. But one thing he mentions, the interviewer, that gypsies come from Egypt. And I was like, what? So in a moment we're going to look that up, because here we go. It's quite confusing because I put in, are gypsies from Egypt? So it talks about the Roman ones, and they originated in India. And I thought, oh, and they get mistaken as the European ones. What's making for the video? I see, I turned this off and then I'll put it back on. There we go, we're back now. So they get mistaken as the European ones, and they must do it through blood pools, like blood types, because they talk about one in a minute, but we'll just see it as it comes along. So it says here that so here it is about the Egyptians and the gypsies, and to be honest, it hasn't got an E on it, and after the P it turns to SIES, but anyway, there you go, you can read what that says anyway. So in one sense they say no, the Egyptians are not from Egypt, they're from India. And in the next breath they say, yes, they are from Egypt. There you go. Egyptian. Says it, there's a word in there in the highlighted bit. Gypsian, short for Egyptian. So in one sense they say it's not, and in another sense they say it is. So, So basically they found it through DNA studies. And it seems that when you've got travellers in your country, they came from that country. A lot of the travellers are not mixtures from Europe and other places. They might have travelled across, some of them, but they know from the blood types that it says it in here. We'll see it in a moment. So there you go. So those are some of the big gypsy names. I just thought this was quite interesting, because obviously when you hear Mrs. Wells talking, which you will in a minute, and it was done in the 90s, but just before I was born. Anyway, so there you go. English travellers or gypsies, they're found in England. So basically they're found in that country. They don't, the travellers aren't European or they're saying that they come from the countries. The travellers are from the countries they live in, basically. I'm not saying this interview wasn't a real interview, but I just didn't think the guy looked right. But we'll look at him in a minute. But I was just looking at this lot. Why have they all got ears? They look a bit pixie-like. Do you see that? And then why do they look so masculine with skirts on? I mean, women do look a bit more masculine when they lose their periods. They don't have estrogen anymore, so we get a bit more masculine-like. But come on, these things are... Well, I don't know what to say, really. I mean, they're showing you these as women. That's got a skirt on. But look at the face and watch how it changes. You have to slow the footage down for this, but there you go. That's a man on the left. Do you think that's a woman? It's a bit upsetting, really. I mean, does that look like a woman? Does that look like a woman? That looks like a man to me. I don't know. And then him, do you see his arm down to his pocket? You see I think he's superimposed in at this bit. That's what you're looking at, is him superimposed into the footage. And his arm, I mean, are they letters? What's that? Is that an R and a K? I don't know, but it often is like this. But it's morphing. I think he's added. He's got a white line going down. I think he's added for the first bit. But anyway, what I came back for was this language. Look, they're putting it as a more English language as well, and it's this, and it's a mixture of languages in the first place, but it's definitely a language spoken in quite a few countries. Look at that. Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United States, Africa. Wow! A world language full of languages. So, obviously just read the information. Stop the video if you want to look at it a bit more, or look it up yourself. Wow, so many countries. That's like one language really, with some differences with the world, but wow. So we already had one language, so why does English now have to be the language if we actually did have a language? But I didn't really find any videos of people talking about it really. But you can see what history it's saying here. And please just go and read it, there's just so much.
Angloromani.
Yes, maybe. Well, I don't want to say anything because there's different versions of it. But there you go. Not that much, like videos on them speak, but it's included in all. Oh, anyway, you can read it. But anyway, there's a new word. Find out a bit more about it yourselves if you want to. Very interesting, though, isn't it? Maybe this is our Tartaria. Obviously, it's from here because they all spoke the same language, with a slight difference depending on which set of Romanis you come from. Sorry, Gypsies you come from.
There are an estimated 200,000 Romani in the United Kingdom, with almost all living in England. Most Romanichal speak Angloromani, a mixed language involving the presence of Romani vocabulary with English syntax.
But here you go, because there's different types of gypsies, I think. So basically it says that most gypsies are Catholic. There you go, blood type B. So that's how they know where the Romani gypsies come from. And they're European. But it says down here, as West and West European Romani with formerly closely related to India, so who knows, but they don't want to put them together. And then here it tells you 81% of the people are from gypsy travellers in England. So they're talking about that actually in that country, that is what they're called. I mean, they don't, so the English gypsies aren't, I hope you get what I mean. That was quite confusing to explain that, but you can see it in the writing in front of you, and if it goes too fast, just slow down and stop it and then look at it, because this is what the internet's saying.
If a lot of people have their way, this is a site which very soon will have vanished completely from the highways and the byways of the English countryside. The site of a gypsy camp at the side of the road. For the gypsies are nomad, and there's very little place in our society today for nomads. The gypsy arrived in this country by way of Egypt from India centuries ago, and the term gypsy is derived from the word Egyptian, where it was mistakenly believed they originated. Most of the myths and the legends built up around the gypsy, that he's unclean, that he steals, and that he's untruthful, are false, though they do apply to the Didikai, the gypsy who has intermarried with a house dweller and for some reason takes on the worst habits of both societies. This is a gypsy encampment. And this first caravan, with its gleaming paintwork and polished brass, is lived in by no less a person than the queen of the gypsies herself, Mrs. Wells. And it's her story, the story of the travellers, as they prefer to be called, that I want you to hear. Mrs. Wells, when did you become the queen of the travellers?
About 3 years ago, sir. And when my auntie died, she was the queen of the gypsies. They chased me out. They found me, and they put me the queen after I took her place.
How long have you been a traveller, Mrs. Wells?
All my lifetime, sir.
And how long is that?
Oh, do you want to look, my gentleman? I'm 80 today.
Is it your birthday today?
Yes, today,
Well,
sir.
many happy
I
returns
hope
of the
so,
day.
please
Mrs.
God,
Wells.
sir. I love this life. I've had 14 children in this life, sir, in wagons. And I never settled down, I never want. To the day I'm put in my grave, and then I gotta settle down. Haven't I, sir?
Of all your 14 children, are they travellers as well?
Well, I got 9 of 11, sir. They got their own vans the same as this. And they're all travel the same as the mother.
How do you all make a living, Mrs. Wells?
The guy gets me a bit of pension, you know, sir. There's a bit of pension I get and do the best we can, rakes along. Sometimes makes a few clothes pegs, few tables, and a few paper flowers, and hawks the country through. And that's how we gets along.
What's it like on the roads today, Mrs. Wells, compared to the old days?
Well, the day in my days was far different what it is today, sir. We could go out in the field, take the nets and the ferrets, ferret out a nice few rabbits, go and get a few taters, a few swedes, and a nice hawk of bacon or a nice little bit of beef sometimes. Put on a good pot full of taters and swedes and bacon, and make your children a good bellyful so you know they have got a good bellyful. We would crawl along and snow up for a middle to get a few green pigs sticks out of the age, to fetch them back to unthaw them, shave them, rind them, chop them up and tin them and melt them, put them on and go and sell them. To get the children some bread to keep them from starvation.
Because all your rabbits have gone now, what do you do
Oh,
now?
I wouldn't eat a rabbit now, so you give me £1,000 eating. I couldn't, so we're poison stuff, shouldn't we?
How much longer do you think the travellers will go on travelling the roads?
Well,
of
no,
this
I heard a great deal of, back some time ago, said that they was going to settle down the travellers. But they wouldn't settle down me, sir.
You will go on?
I'd be gone, I wouldn't settle down, sir. No, I'll keep roaming. I've done good for thousands, sir. And I say I'm always an old traveller, and I die an old traveller. And there's not one in the wide world you should never give me a bad name. And go to church and inquire to that sergeant about Mrs. Wells's character, give it to you. I've been all over the world. There's no one on earth that, yes, I was sketched one time, still a marrow, sir. I was told a marrow. I was coming across a footpath, there's a lot of Swedes. Thought myself I mustn't touch that Swede, but I'm going to have this marrow. I had the marrow, sir, and of course the farmer come to me, well, they reported it to the policeman. One of the policemen come, he said, "Is you, Mrs. Wells?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Eating, I ain't going to do nothing with you." That made they look funny, didn't it, sir? I've never done that to me. Never hurted me. Give me my marrow.
It's been a
And
great
the next day I
pleasure
had another one.
meeting you, it really has, and thank you very much for letting us talk to you, Mrs. Wells.
And you're quite welcome, sir.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much, my dear.
You're welcome. Pretty welcome.